This past weekend was supposed to be week 1 of this version of the XFL's second season. But instead, due to the merger with the USFL, we now have to wait till the end of March for spring football to kick off. Spring football, specifically the XFL, has always had a special place in my heart because it is what I started this channel talking about back at the beginning of 2020. One thing I hate to hear from people is that spring football is a waste of time or does not matter. Today, I want to talk about why it matters and why you should care. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football and spring league content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who your favorite UFL team is in the comment section below. In the NFL, you can have rosters up to 53 players and then field a practice squad as well. Year in and year out, players that were good enough to make it to the league get cut because they are the 54th best player on the team. They could be added to the practice squad, but that will not help them put enough film together to maybe make an active roster down the road. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, one of the owners of the XFL, now UFL, with the USFL merger, always felt like he was player number 54. He told ESPN Press Room, "Player 54 is a deeply personal reality for me. There are 53 players on an NFL roster. I was number 54. I was good, but not good enough. I was ready, I was hungry, and I waited for the NFL phone calls that never came. I never got that shot to prove myself. And that seminal moment in my life put a chip on my shoulder that is never and will never go away. Years later, life has brought me to the XFL today, and I'm grateful to share my experience with our players, all of whom have the same chip on their shoulder. I hope everyone enjoys watching the XFL process as much as I've enjoyed this Life Comes Full Circle ride." The XFL and USFL provide opportunities for players to play in live games and to earn a second shot at making an NFL roster. It gives us amazing stories like AJ McCarron, who was a career NFL backup and just wanted his kids to see him start for a team, and has led to many active roster opportunities for players who maybe have never gotten them. PJ Walker and Kenny Robinson made it to the NFL via the XFL in 2020. Taylor Heineke has started multiple NFL games and had those opportunities presented to him because of the XFL. It also provides opportunities to make a salary as a player while not being eligible for the NFL draft, like we saw with Robinson in 2020 and Sama Paema in 2023. Throughout the USFL, XFL, and AAF, we have gotten to learn and watch some amazing players' stories of guys giving football one last shot, or guys betting it all on themselves to prove that they have what it takes. It encapsulates all the beauty of sports and competition. You want to root for these guys. You want them to succeed. Along with that, there's nothing like attending a live football game in person, especially when you get to interact with some of the craziest and most passionate fans. It is one of the things that make football so special. You really don't see a guy like Fireman Ed at a baseball game or basketball game. You don't see people jumping through tables like at Buffalo Bills games, or whole cities shutting down for a college football Saturday or NFL Sunday. Football fans are just built differently compared to other sports fans. Tailgating for baseball is fun and all, but it's just not the same. Football is the most popular sport in the United States, and with that comes a high demand for tickets to go to games. In 2022, the price for a ticket to attend an NFL game was $235, while in 2023, the average cost was $377. The average cost to attend a Power 5 football game was $147. Now imagine having a family of 4 where the median household income as of 2021 was $70,784. If you just want to take your kids to a college football game, it would cost you $588 just for tickets, not including taxes. That does not include any parking, food, or merchandise you decide to purchase. When it comes to attending an NFL game, it would cost you, on average, a whopping $1,508 to attend an NFL game, and that's just for tickets, which is over 2% of your yearly income before taxes. That is freaking absurd. The NFL and college football are starting to price out their hardcore fans as they focus more on celebrity culture, and people attending the games are more about flexing that they are there than actually wanting to be at the games. On the other hand, when it comes to the XFL, the story is much different. Personally, I paid an average of $35 per ticket When I attended 3 games last year, which included luxury seats with some college friends, that included all you could drink and all you could eat for $120 a piece. In downtown DC, they had $20 parking where they allowed you to tailgate, and I was able to take friends who were not the biggest sports fans or football fans in the world to show them how special the XFL was, and every one of them became hooked after that. The reason they became hooked was because of the type of fan that was able to attend. Families and the hardcore football fan. Although Audi Field was much smaller than any major football stadium I have attended, it was louder than every NFL game I have been to, and everyone was having fun, whether it was snowing, raining, or the sun was shining. People were in the stands partying like they were back in college, and you could make friends with other fans. And Washington, D.C. embraced the Defenders as well. For years, DC football fans were left with the disappointment of the Washington Commanders and the slap in the face that was playing in Andover, Maryland, the dilapidated stadium they played in, and how hard it was to get there to see their consistently disappointing team play year in and year out. On top of that, they dealt with one of the worst human beings as an owner in all of sports. When the Defenders arrived, it gave them an alternative to a team that won the Northern Division and played for the championship in 2023 right in downtown DC. It was a breath of fresh air, and it led to one of the greatest sports moments I ever got to witness in my life.
So in a revolt, the fans are throwing lemons. Yep. The referees are clearing the players off the field for player safety. Who's got the power to give the fans their beer snake back? 3rd and 16. Here comes the pressure. Intercepted! Michael Joseph with the pick six and the flips. We'll give you some style points.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't give football fans half a lemon for their mixed drinks. The beer snake was also unreal. But DC was not the only city that showed how much the XFL meant to their city. There's also St. Louis, where call is the law. Both in the 2020 iteration of the XFL and last year, St. Louis showed how special they were. The Dome was consistently sold out as they continued to open more and more levels for fans to buy tickets to. It was a stadium I was supposed to go to a game at in 2020 before the world shut down, but I do have plans to make it to a game this year. When the XFL arrived, the city had yet to fully heal from Stan Kroenke's moving the Rams to Los Angeles while taking shots at the city and fans. The Battlehawks endeared themselves to the locals and showed how great of a sports city St. Louis truly is. A city that had seen NFL teams leave time and time again, whether it was the Cardinals or the Rams. The city developed an anti-NFL sentiment, and the Battlehawks fit right into that perfectly. Dan Buffa from KSDK wrote back in 2020, there were tailgates, crowds of happiness. A Kroenke piñata was being bashed to pieces with fans screaming all around. Beers were consumed, good times were had, and good football was the end result. The team embraced their newfound colors, wearing local teams' fabrics like the Cardinals and Blues to pregame walk-ups. They invested time after that game, such as players going to young fans and exchanging footballs for a box of Girl Scout cookies. They smashed Bud Light seltzer cans after the game in the locker room. They made themselves well known on social media and connected with the fans. The Battlehawks did their best to endear themselves to fans. When they returned in 2023, the fans showed out, and it was special. The XFL provided football fans a way to root for their teams that wanted to root for them. It was football for the real fans who exposed themselves to winter weather just to have fun with a bunch of random strangers. And it was affordable. Back in 2020, to take a family of 4 to an XFL game, the average cost was $284, per a report from the sports business intelligence firm Team Marketing Report, less than the average cost of one ticket for an NFL game. They also provided a fun product on the field and at home for those who wanted to watch a game through some great television deals. So why does this all matter, and how does the UFL not fail in the long run? Well, the stories and the fans are why this league matters. The fans in DC, the fans in St. Louis, and around the rest of the league. The Spring League model has proven to work to get players to active NFL rosters, as we have seen time and time again. And the league gets pretty good television viewership, more than any other professional sports league playing at the same time. The product is there, but the revenue model and ownership are the major factors for what will make sure these leagues are here to stay. The USFL went out of business in the 80s when they tried to compete with the NFL. The XFL failed in the early 2000s. The AAF went bankrupt after players were screwed by ownership, and the person who bought the league out was not transparent about his plans with the league. and the list goes on when it comes to failed football spring leagues. Michael Haigu, a commissioner of a different UFL league, a league that failed in the 2010s, told The Athletic last year, the problem for all spring or startup football leagues like the UFL is, what's its revenue model? And it's one thing to come out of the gate and say there's no saturation issues and people still have a thirst for football. But getting paid attendance alone isn't really going to really drive it. College football and the NFL, of course, are driven momentarily by their television deals. Well, this version of the UFL seems to have things all worked out. The XFL and USFL decided to put their egos aside and come together to put the best product on the field. They have a strong television deal with ESPN, ABC, and Fox. The XFL lost millions in their first season, while the USFL was profitable according to The Athletic. With the merger and television deals, along with the extra content they could make, like the Player 54 documentary that the XFL had, the league could become profitable with the merger, and the NFL could become an investor down the road to truly make it a developmental league. Now, I know there's going to be some hate around the spring league football leagues, but I just don't get it, and the arguments really don't track. There's this idea that Americans only care about the NFL, but that's not true based off of the XFL and USFL, both outperforming the NBA, MLB, and NHL during its run when there were nationally televised games, and when you looked at regional coverage as well. Football conquers all in the United States. The product for the XFL, which is the league I paid more attention to, and why I've talked more about the XFL than the USFL more in this video, was a pretty good product with some decent quarterback play. You should care about the UFL because it provides a game of football that is innovative and is filled with amazing stories. It provides players better opportunities for making a name for themselves. While writing this script, Matt Corral chose to go to the UFL route rather than jump between practice squads, and with the season starting on March 30th, there's already excitement building. The XFL is the reason this YouTube channel started, and spring football will always have a special place in my heart. It is an amazing game that provides football fans with fun, affordable football. I'm excited for the league this year, and I can't wait to get down to DC for a few games once again, and maybe to a Birmingham Stallions game and St. Louis Battlehawks game as well. The United Football League will be a lot of fun to watch, and is something I will be covering throughout the season. What do you think? Who will you be rooting for this year? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.